welcome to the sew along for the S9620, Madalynne's newest pattern with Simplicity. If you're unfamiliar with Madalynne, I'll do a brief intro. We are a Philadelphia-based company that specializes in DIY and ready-made lingerie, swimwear, and activewear. We sell DIY kits, we offer in-person and online bra making workshops, and we sell ready-made. So if you don't know how to sew, you have no desire to sew, but you love Madalynne's DIY kits, we can sew it for you. In today's sew along, or in this sew along, because you probably aren't watching it today or in one session, we will be going over each step to make the S9620. Today's video is going to be short. I'm just going to be going over the pattern, what the pattern is, view A, view B, view C, and what you should cut out, just to save you time from watching me cut. I'm going to show you how I cut, but I'm not actually going to cut. Some tips for cutting. And then in the next session, we're going to go into sewing the sports bralette, and then in the following session, we'll sew the biker short, and then in the last session, we'll sew the leggings. So the pattern is the S9620. There is view A, there is view B, and there is view C. View A is the sports bralette, view B is the leggings, and view C are the biker shorts. It is available in sizes extra small to 5X, and something to note is that the pattern actually comes in two different size ranges. So it comes in an extra small to extra large, and then another size set of the 1X through the 5X. So just make sure that you have the right size for your pattern. For sizing, since it's available in extra small to 5X, but there are no cup sizes, you might be thinking, well, what if I'm a D cup? Or what if I'm a double D cup? Or what if I'm a G cup? What if you're a K cup? A little trick that we use for any bra pattern that doesn't have cup sizes is that you will cut the size, if you take your full bust measurement around the fullest part of your bust, you will cut that for the front pieces. Then you will measure your rib cage, which is around your rib cage, and you will cut that for the back. So an example is if you measure, I'm using hypothetical numbers, but if you measure 48 for the front, and on the size chart of 48 equals 3XL, for the front sports bralette, you're going to cut the 3X size. Let's just say your rib cage measurement is a 38. And on the size chart, that 38 is an extra large. So for the back piece, you are going to cut an extra large. You might have to make some adjustments to the length of the side seam, but that is a good way to, if you have big girls, a way to provide enough coverage for the front, but still be able to hug your rib cage. Basically, you're kind of cutting them in half, so if it's a 3X and an XL, it cancels out to like a 1X. So if you are cutting out, making the sports bralette, refer to the size chart and the measuring directions to determine your size. Okay, now let's go on to what you should have cut out. If you purchase a kit, what you should have in your kit, one thing to note with a kit, a question that I've been getting a lot is there a kit for the leggings or the biker short? So there is not a kit for the bikers or legging short because it's just fabric. So a kit in my mind equals fabric, lining, trims, but since there are no trims, it's not really a kit. So if you want to make the leggings or the biker shorts, all you do is just purchase extra fabric. We do have kits for the sports bralettes. So let's get into what you should have cut, the pattern pieces, what comes in your kit, and a tip for cutting your fabrics. Okay, so now let's go over everything that you should have cut prior to sewing the S9620. Let's start off with the pattern pieces, number 1 and number 2. This is the front and this is the back. You can notice by the front has a lower neckline, the back has a higher neckline. You should cut 2. I have 4 cut because I'm going to be showing 2 different neckline applications. So I have 4 cuts. So the sports bralette for the center, for the front piece and for the back piece, it is the main fabric. So you don't have to have any lining for this. All I have is the sports lycra. There's no stretch mesh, there's no power knit. Pretty straightforward. So that's pattern piece number 1 and pattern piece number 2. For pattern piece number 3, it is the side front, and let's go to the side back as well. So this is just one layer of the Lycra, the sports Lycra, and then it is backed or lined with a layer of stretch mesh. You could also choose power knit if you want a little bit more support. So a trick for cutting lingerie fabric, a tip for cutting lingerie fabrics, activewear fabrics, swimwear fabrics, when you have a lining, is to use my secret weapon, Otis, or it could be any basing adhesive. I prefer Otis 505 spray adhesive, but this is an alternative. It's just a basing adhesive. So prior to cutting the side front and the side back, I laid out all my fabric. I laid the Lycra, and then I laid a layer of stretch mesh. And what I did is, pretending that these aren't already what we call spray basted block fused together, is I use this and I then press it in place. What this does is it helps keep everything in place. The last thing that you want is to start sewing it and your lining goes this way and your fabric goes this way, and then you have like drag lines everywhere. So this helps it so that you just treat it as one ply going forwards. Once everything's cut, I mean, for me, it's a game changer when it comes to lingerie sewing, activewear sewing, and swimwear sewing. So for the side front and the side back, number 3 and number 4, I had the Lycra lined with a stretch mesh. Pattern pieces number 5 and number 6, I don't cut out because I know they're elastic guides, but they're exactly that. They're just guides. I like to cut out my elastic when I'm actually sewing it. Things happen in sewing, and sometimes you need to be longer or shorter, so I don't like to cut my elastic prior to this, I don't like to cut my elastics when I'm cutting my fabric or prior to sewing. So number 7, the pattern piece is actually huge. It's the legging piece. So this is just a main layer. It's just 2 layers of the Lycra. It is the front and back legging pattern. That's it, easy peasy. And then number 8 is your gusset. I actually cut 2 gussets because one is going to go for the leggings, the other one is going to go for the biker short. No lining on those. So number 9 is your waistband. Again, it is just your Lycra. And number 10 is your biker short, the front and back piece. It is just 1 layer of the Lycra, no lining again. Actually, beyond this point, there is no lining to any of the pieces. 11, 12, and 13, this is just a layer of mesh. So it's not the Lycra, it's the mesh. 12 is the layer of Lycra, no mesh. And then 13 is the waistband for the biker short. The waistband for the biker short is a little bit narrower than the waistband for the leggings. And this again is just a layer of Lycra. So that are all the pattern pieces you should have cut out. And now the trims. Love the S9620 because it uses very little trims. You're either going to have if you bought a kit, you're either going to have a knitted elastic for the bottom band or just a plain elastic. There are 2 different applications I'm going to show. So the knitted elastic requires a casing. The one that's just the elastic, you just sew onto the bottom of the bralette. And the only other trim is fold over elastic. And that's it. Okay, so in the next session, we will start sewing the sports bralette. As always, you can email hello@madalynne.com. If you have any questions, please subscribe to this page. Please subscribe to Simplicity's page as well. And I will see you in the next lesson.